When you're a kid, nothing touches animation. It's the only thing that can actually capture a kid's imagination and put it on the screen for them. You can catch me watching some drama of Tom Cruise being mad, okay? I was busy watching SpongeBob, Dragon Ball Z, The Emperor's New Groove, Kronk's New Groove. If it was animated, I was watching it. I wasn't appreciating any art about animation or anything. I was just like, Shrek is funny. The donkey is funny. But as I got older, I started appreciating the art, understanding how much work actually went into it. Like this. That took 18 days to animate. It's not easy. But while I was getting older, there was less and less animation aimed at my age group. Of course, there's the exceptions, and Japan has always had that on lock. But usually animated movies or TV is looked at as stuff for kids. I'll never forget getting all my friends together to watch Spider-Verse. I was like, it's a black Spider-Man. We're going. And 3 minutes into the movie, my friend turns to me and he's like, wait, this is animated? Dang. First of all, how do you go into a movie that blindly? And two, thankfully he actually liked the movie. But he was ready to fall asleep as soon as he saw that opening. And I feel like that's how a lot of people react to animation. The story, the characters, the art can all look better than a regular movie, but people won't want to see it because there aren't real actors in it. Because we're not seeing Scarlett Johansson's beautiful Asian face. That's when I started realizing animation low-key gets zero respect, all things considered. What are the things we're considering? I don't know, let's find out. The Oscars are the most outdated show in history, unless I win an Oscar. But there's only ever been 3 animated movies ever nominated for Best Picture. They just got them in their own little category over there. And they're almost always Disney or Pixar movies. And in general, nobody really cares about animation unless it's from Disney or Pixar. And even then, now Pixar movies are just going straight to Disney Plus. They're not even getting to go to theaters. Unless it's Buzz Cut Lightyear. People are freaking out over a Pixar movie with a big red panda. They're like, back in my day, pandas were black and white, and they knew Kung Fu. And they sounded like Jack Black. I don't know why people are mad. I made that up. But usually animation isn't seen as high art or cinema. A lot of people think they're just cartoons. Invincible was airing at the same time as Falcon and the Winter Soldier, aka possibly the most boring show of all time. And Invincible was getting no love until it literally had a top 5 season finale in the history of television. That's the length it had to go to get any attention. But most people would have rather not watched the cartoon. But I can understand why people think animation is like just for kids. We're honestly just not used to getting animation for adults. 99% of the animated movies I've seen are G or PG, and that's just how it's been my whole life. I remember when I was a kid and there was this creepy animated movie called 9. It was rated PG-13, and that just blew my mind. I was like, an animated movie that's not for me? Is this allowed? That was the first time I saw a movie with that style, that was that dark and weird and not aimed at children. It depends on the story, but certain stories are 10,000 times more fire in animation than they would be in live action. If you want to really escape in film, I feel like animation does that better than anything else. With live action, half the time I can tell most of the things are CGI. Like, okay, that is 25-year-old actor Tom Holland pretending to be a 15-year-old boy in front of a blue screen. And that's how I think, just because I know how movies work. But with animation, it can literally feel like a window into another world. It allows for so much that would be impossible in live action unless you had like $400 million like Avatar. Good luck teaching that real panda kung fu, okay? Believe me. I've tried. With animation, if you imagine it, it can be created and put on screen. The biggest battles with the craziest choreography, cinematography, or the most detailed, insane worlds we've never seen. Animation will casually just have so many incredible shots. Like a shot of a house in live action is fine. I'm like, okay, it's a house, nice. Then that kind of shot in animation is like, wow, I'm literally looking at a painting right now. A trashed room feels messy, but there's beauty to the mess. If this was live action, I'll be like, dang, shorty, you live like this? But now it just feels so artistic. So beautiful. Why? It's just a friggin' Tabasco sauce in the dang pizza box. Different animation styles give you different feelings. Spider-Verse has the distinct style of trying to recreate the feeling of what it's like to read a comic book, and it wouldn't hit the same if it looked like Soul or something where everything looks super realistic. Hand-drawn animation is just incredible. You can see the love put into every frame. Prince of Egypt is one of my favorite movies ever animated or not. And it's because of how the animation is able to capture how epic the story of Moses really is. The horror of the plagues, how incredible a sea would look if it actually parted and was like 10 stories high. This movie had my Sunday school lit, man. Coraline is the creepiest kid movie of all time, and a lot of the reason for that is because all these images look so off-putting when they're in stop motion. Nobody really cares about stop motion anymore. The movies do terrible, and it's so sad because when you see how painstakingly put together these movies are, it's like we need to be lining up for this, man. The feeling that Coraline gives me has yet to be replicated by any other movie. The art style is so beautiful, but the situation is so lonely and terrifying. Speaking of which, Spirited Away made me so uncomfortable as a kid. She leaves her parents for 2 seconds and they turn into some dang pigs. And then there's this old bird woman. Oh nah, talk about an actual nightmare. But now I love it in all of Miyazaki's films. And I like them cause some of them can be so weird. At this point, it's like the weirder the better, okay? I'm tired of seeing the same things in movies over and over. Like, I want to see some stuff I've never seen before. Now put on your glasses, cause this part of the video is in 3D. Oh! With 3D animation, you get beautiful works of art like this. 3D animation is great too. It's just a shame that 2D animation gets no love these days. They tried with Princess and the Frog and it failed, and they were like, alright, we're never doing this again. We did this one for the blacks and the frogs. No one else can ask any more of us. So it's become a thing of the past. I wish we could have both, but 3D animation is still amazing. Especially these days when it's starting to look like scarily good. Compared to like 15 years ago when it would look like this. Rango is one of my favorite 3D animated movies. Like, they were able to create such a dirty, gritty world. In live action, we really barely get to see many fully realized worlds that actually feel lived in. Besides like the Harry Potters and the Lords of the Rings, No Way Home had the emptiest New York ever. Like, I'm just saying, like, how was this entire apartment building empty? It felt like this was like not even a lived in city. Hate on Avatar all you want, but it's one of the few movies that actually creates an entire world with an ecosystem and freaking animals and all this stuff. Like, you watch the movie and think, I'm trying to go to Pandora. The art style in Ratatouille is what makes me feel like I'm tasting the food by just watching the movie. Or why I keep checking under my hats to see if I'm being controlled by any small rodents. Add a sprinkle of great voice acting and a pinch of one of the most beautiful soundtracks to ever exist, and you have a timeless masterpiece. Bon appetit. Now soon we're gonna have a hard time figuring out whether or not something is animated or in real life, but I still prefer the animation that doesn't look like real life, because it starts to just feel like you're watching a video game cutscene. Like, at that point you might as well just have real actors. Which brings me to the live action remake. The most disrespectful thing to animation. I never had a huge problem when it came to the Disney remakes like Aladdin and The Lion King, like everybody else on the internet did, because they're already good stories at heart, so it's like you just gotta do it again and I will enjoy it. But it takes all the sauce out of it. Like, there's no more sauce. I don't know how to explain this. The Lion King, Aladdin, they have sauce. You can just look at this and see sauce. This, no sauce. Sauce, no sauce. Like, they took the soul out of it and made the most mid version of the movie possible. Like, Netflix is trying to do another Avatar: The Last Airbender live action remake, but like, why? Are we not gonna learn from what happened last time?
My name is Ang, and I'm the Avatar. I ran away.
We already got one of the most fully realized worlds ever in animation. If it's remade in live action, we know how it's gonna look. We're gonna see the story that we already know, but it's just gonna look worse and feel more fake. They can't do this in live action better than this right here. I'm sorry. This is about to turn into Riverdale with bending. Your Name in live action would work, but it would just be like a nice little romantic comedy. But animated is straight up one of the most beautiful movies I've ever seen. Making it live action would literally just take that magic out of it. And they're trying to make an Invincible live action movie. Like, well, I think that'd be kind of cool. You need like $300 million to make it as epic as it was in season 1. But on top of being the GOAT superhero show, Invincible was a huge step forward in adult animation. We're seeing more and more animation geared towards adults now. Usually when you think about adult animation, it would be comedies, which is great and adds a lot to it. Imagine seeing this big old horseman in live action. Nobody's trying to see that. Like, animation lets you do so much with comedy. Rick and Morty concepts would be impossible to do in live action. You wouldn't be able to have scenes like this in Smiling Friends.
How do I look, yellow man?
You look like you're about to tell your friend not to come to school tomorrow, man.
But I've always wanted a mainstream show that's based around drama or action to be animated, and Invincible and Arcane finally gave me that last year. I don't think y'all realize that Invincible final episode, I actually had to pause and take in that I was witnessing a masterpiece unfold in front of my eyes. Anime has been doing this for years, but this is the first time I saw it on this level in America for adults.
それってなんだかミステリー？
Anime is still also kind of considered weird in the mainstream, and it can get you to be called a weeb. I don't want to anger the anime fans, but I wasn't trying to read all the subtitles, man. I can't lie. I already got beef with the CIA, the FBI, the BBC, the CDC, and the CVS. Alright, I don't need to make any more enemies. I was trying to get into anime for years until it finally clicked when I saw a 4K IMAX re-release of both Akira and Ghost in the Shell for the first time, and it actually blew my mind. Seeing those movies for the first time in that big format transported me into them way better than it would have been on my computer or TV. I started watching other anime movies, got into the work of Satoshi Kon. Satoshi Kon, the GOAT, man. This man's first movie is one of the greatest movies ever. Perfect Blue is one of my favorite movies of all time. That was like the first time I saw an animated movie that was so adult and borderline scary that I was like, oh, this is what animation is capable of. Using animation lets them blur reality and fantasy more fluidly. You will be watching this thing not knowing if you're dreaming yourself. Recently, there's been a lot more anime movies coming to the US and doing really well, like Demon Slayer and Jujutsu Kaisen. But yeah, I'd love to see more stuff like this, especially in America. My two most anticipated movies of the year are Spider-Verse 2 and Avatar 2, which are basically two animated movies just in completely different ways. First Spider-Verse did terrible at the box office, but it got a big following now, so hopefully it will do well and people will see that we want to see more of this kind of different animation and stuff. What about you? What do you think about all this? What are some of your favorite animated movies ever? Let me know in the comments down below. And you might as well leave a like on this video because let's be honest, man, it's already a classic. I also want to say shout out to the animators and artists of these movies. A lot of them are nameless and faceless to the audience, but they're the ones putting in hours and hours to create these masterpieces. As a tribute to you, I myself will be going from live action to animated. Yes, this is me now. Thank you. Thank you. No, I'm flattered. No, thank you. What can I say? You know, I'm a good guy. You know?
I got it. If I don't got it, I'll find it. If I can't find it, I'll make it. If I can't make it, I'll take it from whoever got it.